Hello everyone and welcome to the 2019 Harkleroad-Adams running back rankings show. My name is Drew Hare, this is Matt Harkleroad and Chris Adams. And once again we're here to talk about the 2019 list of running backs. If you want to look for our other videos, we've already talked about quarterbacks, wide receivers, and their predictions for the 2019 NFL season. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. Let's talk about your methodology a little bit. Very similar to quarterbacks and wide receivers, this is not a fantasy football rankings list. This is who you guys think is the best in the football league.
Best in the business for 1 year. So give me 1 year at a position. We're going to rank them. We're going to assume that they stay healthy if they're a healthy person, and maybe take into a little bit of account if they're injury prone, like a guy like Gurley with a nagging knee injury that could crop up at any moment. But for the most part, no ACL tears, that kind of stuff. If somebody's broken their foot before, we're not going to knock them against them.
Exactly. And I would say too, though, with the running backs and the wide receivers, more so than the quarterback, there actually might be more of an overlap with like a fantasy football rankings type thing with these positions, because you're not factoring in as much the leadership and the the it factor, whatever it is for quarterbacks.
There's always something about NFL quarterbacks, so people tend to have those discussions. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get started with number one on the list is Saquon Barkley of the New York Giants. Last year we didn't know what to expect from him, and then all of a sudden he goes from maybe 25, 30 on your list all the way up to number one.
Right? Yeah, I think at this point, the guy has shown us enough. I mean, we make the comment a lot in our quarterback rankings that, it was one good year. One good year as a running back, that's a whole lot of film for someone to try to figure out what you're doing. It's not like it's complicated. If you're fast, you're fast. And they can see that on film right away. They know that before you even start the game. If you can catch the ball, they know that. And if you still continue to pound teams, and the way he does it too, he's everywhere for that team. He does everything. Everybody was keying on him all season long, and the guy still kept producing. He's a freak of nature. In college he was, and now even in the pros, I think he's ramped up a notch even. So he's an impressive specimen for sure. Yeah,
and again, this is, like I said before, this is a little different than ranking quarterbacks. Like if you watch our quarterback video and you'll be like, what do you mean? Like, they didn't rank Patrick Mahomes #1 because it was only 1 year, but now they're ranking Saquon Barkley #1 because of 1 year. It's a little bit different at the running back position for the reasons Matt said. And it's just different. And Saquon, the numbers he put up last year with a quarterback who wasn't scaring anybody, with not a great line. He was the focal point of the offense, and he still produced in New York.
And the Giants don't have Odell anymore. Who knows what's going to happen with the quarterback situation? Could come as early as week 3, week 4, maybe not happen at all. But they need somebody to carry the load, and he's going to be he's the guy to do it, I think. All right, moving on. Number 2, Todd Gurley of the Los Angeles Rams. Number 3, Ezekiel Elliott of the Dallas Cowboys. Number 4, Christian McCaffrey of the Carolina Panthers. And number 5, Alvin Kamara of the New Orleans Saints. You can't any order of these 2 for 5.
Take them out of a hat for this.
I think you're talking about a bunch of guys that do either something exceptionally well, or they do a little bit of everything at a really high level. Like a guy like, Kamara, maybe he's not going to win the rushing title, right? Like a guy like Ezekiel's going to win the rushing title every year, but he's going to catch less balls out of the backfield. Not that Zeke can't catch, but he's so good at pass protection that they use him a lot in that. And you take a guy like, I said Kamara and McCaffrey, who they're, maybe at this point McCaffrey looks like he's Saquon Barkley. They're so similar of what they do. And then don't forget, Gurley scored 21 touchdowns last year. 21 touchdowns. Like, how do you knock the guy when even at he was dinged up at times too? So I know we've got a knee issue and it could crop up at any minute, but the guy performs. That's all you can say.
And I think for all these, what do all these guys have in common? They do it all. They're obviously great runners. They can hit the breakaway run, but they can also get the tough yards. They can catch the ball out of the backfield. They can also stay in and block. People are talking about the devaluation of the running back position, which is true to a point. I think it's also maybe one of the most overhyped points in people talking about football. Because who wouldn't want one of these guys on their team? Like, if you have a Barkley, McCaffrey, a Kamara, a Gurley, you have a huge advantage on teams who don't.
Well, just look at how different the offenses of these teams would be without these guys. We know that the Cowboys offense doesn't work right now without Zeke, right? That's why they paid him. You know, you look at Barkley, there wouldn't be an offense without it. You know, you take a look, they said, hey, in New Orleans, they said, we don't need this other guy who's been a great running back for us for a number of years. We don't need to bring him back because this guy can do all that work plus extra things that other guy couldn't do. And I'm talking about Mark Ingram, but
it was also on your list.
Yeah,
I mean, you can let him walk away because you have a generational talent like Kamara.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go ahead and continue on. Number 6 on the list is Le'Veon Bell of the New York Jets. It's kind of weird to say that after all this time as a Steelers fan. Number 7, Melvin Gordon of the Los Angeles Chargers. Number 8, David Johnson of the Arizona Cardinals. Number 9, Nick Chubb of the Cleveland Browns, another high riser after a great rookie year. And number 10, Joe Mixon of the Cincinnati Bengals. Any comments on any of those guys?
Again, you're looking at guys who can do it all.
Sure.
You know, Le'Veon was ranked number 1 last year. You know, he sat out an entire year and you know got paid by the Jets this year and is expecting big things from him. But you never know what sitting out a year is going to do to you.
Has anyone else ever done it?
Yeah, no, we don't.
Right?
I mean, he may come back with with fresh legs and rush for 2,000 yards and you know be the MVP. He also might negatively affect him. But still, great player, does it all. Melvin Gordon, the same thing. He can catch the ball, he can block.
We don't know who he's going to play for.
Yeah, we don't know that part.
Or if he ever plays, but whoever is going to get him is getting a heck of a running back.
And Nick Chubb, being a Browns fan, I mean, maybe one of the biggest surprises about Chubb last year was how good he was catching the ball out of the backfield.
Because that was a knock against him coming out
exactly.
of college.
Right. He was never really asked to do that at Georgia. But watching him last year, he was great running, but also had some great catches and was a weapon out of the backfield as well, catching the ball. So,
I think that allows them to trade away to Duke Johnson and rely on a Hilliard who's really hasn't done anything as a third down receiving back, but I think they feel confident in what Chip's able to do.
Yeah, I mean, and you take a look at a guy like Mixon who also does both things. You could definitely make an argument that Mixon deserves to be a little higher up this list, especially with the amount of yards he put up last year. It's all fair. I just think at this level, if you look at these guys, they're real similar, you know, and we went back and forth a little bit about what the order of who's on top of who, and I think that's if that's the thing you come out of this with saying is Mixon was rated a little low, and I say fair, you know, at that point, you know, there's nothing.
Although I could make the argument that like Mixon is more of a pure runner than some of these guys, but he doesn't necessarily do not the receiving threat, maybe not as good at the blitz picking up and the blocking as some of the guys above him.
Yeah. That's why he ended up though.
Yeah,
for us. Yes, I can understand your point.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to number 11, James Conner of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 12, Leonard Fournette of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 13, Derrick Henry of the Tennessee Titans. Number 14, Dalvin Cook of the Minnesota Vikings. And number 15, Philip Lindsay of the Denver Broncos. A very interesting group. And 2 or 3 of those guys you would have never thought to put them in the top 15 last year.
Yeah. So I think that this might be kind of the big question mark because we don't know a lot of these guys. Like Philip Lindsay came out of nowhere last year and had a great year. Can he keep that up? Who knows? Fournette, I think Leonard Fournette has as much pure talent as anybody on this list, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy. Same thing with Dalvin Cook, right there. And then Derrick Henry, he looked kind of like a bust for the first couple years of his career, and then closed last season just on an incredible run. Had that really reminiscent of Marshawn Lynch. You know, had his own beast mode run, and we saw what that did for Lynch. That he kind of used that run, that playoff run against the Saints, to becoming one of the league's best running backs for the next couple of years, and Henry potentially could do the same thing here.
Yeah, you take a look at a guy like James Conner, right? James Conner started out the season unbelievably on fire, right? Kind of slowed down towards the back end of the season. Is that wear and tear of a guy who was never asked to take a full load on? And like, what was Le'Veon carrying the ball 400 times before the year before? So I mean, it's not like he was getting asked. No one was asking James Conner to do a ton of stuff, right? And then all of a sudden, he's the lead guy. He was not supposed to be going into the season either. Slowed down towards the end. Does losing some offensive weapons on that team, namely Antonio Brown, make it harder for him to get yards going forward? I think there's some question marks there, and that was your point to this whole group, is there's question marks out there, and James Conner had a heck of a season last year, but time will tell.
This entire group could move into that 6 to 10 range. This entire group could move down 17, 18, 19, 20, or even clear that list. We just don't know.
I think you see this list next time, 10 to 15 is going to look completely different, and there's going to be parts everywhere.
Exactly.
An explosion will happen in this part of the...
All right, let's go ahead and continue on. So we've only ranked the top 20 here, so we're going to go 16 to 20, and then we'll have a final discussion after that. So number 16, Chris Carson of the Seattle Seahawks. Number Number 17, Aaron Jones of the Green Bay Packers. Number 18, Tariq Cohen of the Chicago Bears. Number 19, Devontae Freeman of the Atlanta Falcons. And number 20, Mark Ingram, now of the Baltimore Ravens. Any comments on all that group?
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of a weird group. I mean, you got a guy who mostly catches the ball out of the backfield in Cohen, and you've got, you've got an older guy who we don't know what he's going to do when he gets to Baltimore, but his resume speaks for itself.
Yeah.
One of the better running backs that's probably ever played in this league. If you really take, maybe not ever, but had a slow start, but kind of really built on a career.
But also moving from a system where he was in a very clear, one of the best like timeshare running back deals maybe in recent history in the league, to moving in where he's going to be the lead guy, but also going from a quarterback who is never going to run the ball to one of the best running quarterbacks in the league. We're curious to see what that's going to mean for Ingram. Is Lamar Jackson going to get the call down in the red zone where Ingram was that guy in New Orleans? But conversely, maybe he rushes for fewer touchdowns this year, but more yards because he's the number one. We don't know.
Yeah.
It's a pretty interesting section, and these guys, you look at a guy like Carson or Jones, these are good running backs. Yeah. They're good, solid running backs for what they do. They're going to be, I bet money that both of these guys end up on this list next year if they, say nothing horrible happens to them. Sure. But they're good running backs. They're consistent performers. They are linchpins for both of their offenses. They're the go-to guys, And then again, some of the other guys, there might be some more questions about whether or not they're the number one option by the end of the year.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you talk about Tariq Cohen, very good. Yeah. Came out of nowhere last year. He's being pushed by David Montgomery. You have Josh Jacobs. We didn't talk about on this. There's a lot of rookies. We just don't have the data on them. You guys don't feel comfortable. You guys don't want to rank those because there's nothing on them. You don't know which way it's going to go.
You also notice we don't have any of the New England Patriot running backs on this list. Sony Michel or James White or whomever else they may have. And those are two guys who are both pretty talented running backs in their own right. And it's just Belichick just does not really go with the feature runner in New England. Week to week,
there's no telling.
Yeah.
Maybe Damian Harris.
Exactly.
Just got from Alabama. You truly just never.
I mean, the Chiefs are another team though. They're kind of going. They brought it in. Shady McCoy, and then they've got Damian Williams. Yeah, they got a committee going there, moving from Kareem Hunt, who was their their guy. Obviously, Kareem Hunt did his own thing and got cut by the
Chiefs.
The Chiefs, but now they're moving into more of a timeshare running back and situation, and all those guys are talented, but how's that going to play out there? And that's also more of a definite pass first team with Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid and some of the other weapons there.
Yeah, and you get like a guy like Duke Johnson's going to do what he does, whether or not he gets his chance now. He gets his chance to be a featured running back probably down there. Who knows how it all shakes out, but that's what it looks like at this point. And so, you've got lots of good. There's a decent pool of good running back talent, even if the running backs don't matter in the NFL.
Right. Yeah, I could see the top 7, 8, 9 running backs. That list could potentially, carrying over into 2020, could be very well the same order. That wouldn't surprise me. Or those guys seem to be very insulated, and then the rest of the list could be completely different. We just don't know.
I agree with that.
That's just to say the running back in the NFL right now.
Yeah, and that's the way it is. If you're going to get that payday, you've got to be one of the top 5 guys, right? You're not going to get it, and then you're going to end up someplace else, and that could completely change your trajectory as a star in this league. So
absolutely. Any final comments from you two?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah, sounds great. Well, thank you all for watching. Go find our quarterbacks videos. Go find our wide receiver videos and our NFL predictions. What's your Twitter handle?
I'm at Matt Hark.
I'm at the C. Adams.
And if you want to follow me, I'm at Mr. Andrew Hare, Haer on Twitter. Thanks, everyone.
And be sure to hit that subscribe button.